Hi. Hello. It kicked me out for a minute. I don't know why.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it kicked me out too, Judy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Hey, Gina, can you hear us?
Go off mute. There you go.
There.
Doug, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Doug, go off mute. There you
When
go.
you all come in, you're muted because I didn't want any Zoom bombers. So I have to. Yes, Mayor.
Thanks, Colin.
Oh, we're all waiting for you.
So I'm not gonna prop this up on.
There you
There you are.
Tell him to go off mute.
Isn't that nice?
That's awesome.
That was very nice.
I was going to say if there was a bag of candy, it would have been Gina.
What?
Oh, you didn't see?
We got flowers delivered
I
today.
can't see.
Thank you for
Oh, that's so
helping
pretty.
keep the lights on. We don't know who did it.
Want to
That's so
spill.
nice.
Wow, very pretty.
It's a secret admirer.
There you go.
Well, I have them on video because we have a surveillance video at the front door. So I have a picture.
Mhm.
I couldn't recognize who it was.
Okay.
See, for baked goods,
So
then
make-
it would be Gina.
If it was
Yeah, I was gonna
booze, it
say
would
if
be
it was-
me.
I was going to say if it was cookies or a nicely organized bag of candy.
Something cute, yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. I'm gonna prop this up.
Judy, do you want us to be on mute unless we're speaking or just leave it alone?
No, I have that set up as people log in, they're muted until I recognize them. If they're not appropriate, I won't recognize them. Because we're
Okay,
only gonna let the public speak during the public speaking part.
Okay,
Right.
the reason I ask is I'm in the dining room, Joe's 4 feet away in the living room with the TV on, and there's the dog. So when I've done other video chats like this, I tend to mute my side so that you guys don't hear this stuff, and I, keep cutting in where I don't belong.
Okay. Can
Yeah,
you
you can
do
do-
that or do you want me to mute you?
No, I can do that. I have that button right over here. So
Okay.
I'll leave it open for now, but when the meeting starts, I'll mute me until somebody calls on me
Okay.
or until I need to scream and holler or something.
Because we do have a couple of roll call votes we have to do.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just the button on the lower left. It's easy to do.
Right, and then all of this is being recorded.
Okay.
The executive session that we're doing next is not recorded.
Hey,
Okay.
Judy, the agenda that you left up on the dais, that's the most current version?
Yes,
Okay.
that has the new resolution that we got from Mike Amorosa today.
Good. Okay. Oh, did you get my email about putting a provision about that the testing results are critical for?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, that's right. Then I think it's good to go as it is.
You know how many thousands of emails I'm getting these days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And half of them are from the mayor.
Well, we lost Doug.
I'm here.
Okay.
You just turned off the video.
Yeah, look.
Okay, so it's 7 o'clock. If you guys want to, you all ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
Yes, I'm ready.
Oh, Mr. Bellardo is here. Hold on.
And how do we do Pledge of Allegiance? I don't have a flag here.
Oh,
Look
I
at
have
Larry's.
one. May I go get one?
We've got a flag in Larry's picture.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay,
good.
John Belotto's at the bottom, but he's not on video.
Oh, come on, we
Oh,
want
gee.
multimedia John.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, he's a chicken.
Wait a minute. All right, he's not, he's,
John Bellardo here.
there you are.
Yes, you are.
We're kind of like the Brady Bunch with Gina in the middle.
appropriate.
I'm like Alice.
I have Doug in the middle.
Okay,
Okay, Judy?
okay, so adequate notice of this meeting, the Township Committee was sent to the Courier News in Somerville and the Burnettsville News in Whippany to all subscribers and posted here at the Municipal Building as of January 7th, 2020.
Great, and thank you everyone for joining. This is our first Zoom telephonic meeting of the Bedminster Township Committee. This is our April 6, 2020 regular township meeting. I'll recognize that right now. It is 7:01. And on Zoom, I'll do a quick roll call for everyone who's listening. And we'll start with Committeeman Stevenson. You are?
President and accounted for.
You're President and accounted for. Committeeman Hickey.
I am present. Thank you, Mayor.
Committeewoman Moreski.
I am present as well.
And Committeewoman Fernandez.
Present.
And we have a full complement of the Township Committee. Our town attorney, John Bellardo, is also participating by Zoom. And to start the meeting off, start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the
flag
flag,
Flag.
of the United States of
United
America,
United States of America,
and to the republic
republic
for
for
which
which
it
it stands,
stands,
One
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for
justice
all.
for all.
And we do have a member of the public waiting, someone named Charlie.
Well, Charlie may have to wait just a little bit. So before we kick off the meeting, I just want to get in some details. So as of April 6th, as of earlier this morning, there were 17 reported cases of COVID-19 in Bedminster, and that includes the one fatality that we had a couple weeks ago. And just a reminder that this virus is affecting all age groups. So in Bedminster, just in Bedminster, we've had reports from 19-year-old to 80-year-olds. So for those who think that COVID-19 only affects the older community, those who are already sick and compromised, that is not true. This virus is affecting all age groups, and there is no immunity to this virus. It's clearly affected our residents, and it has also affected our town employees. Our town employees continue to work in this very trying time and to maintain the essential role in operations of local government. And this morning, someone dropped off a flower arrangement. And since we are going to be taping this Zoom, it's a beautiful flower arrangement. And it says, "Dear Township employees and police officers, thank you for keeping the lights on for us and keeping us safe. With love, from your neighbors." Now, this was dropped off early this morning. We don't know who dropped it off. But on behalf of the Bedminster Township, the committee and administration and all staff, thank you for dropping that off. Much needed. So thank you. We are a couple weeks into the social distancing efforts, and from what we hear from the governor's office, it appears to be working. Social distancing remains the #1 weapon in our arsenal to slow the spread and to flatten the curve of the growth of this virus. So once again, remind everyone that social distancing remains the #1 option. This week, I think it was perhaps on Friday, the CDC made the recommendation for cloth face masks for folks who are venturing out. That is not a replacement for social distancing. Social distancing remains priority #1. And for those who may be wondering, the reason for the cloth masks is that right now, to the extent there are N95 masks, those really should be reserved for using them in the performance of their daily duties, particularly healthcare workers and other first responders. Later on in the meeting, we'll go through a lot more detail on what the Township Committee and the Township itself is doing with respect to COVID-19. And we'll be coming through that very shortly. But first, we've got some normal business to go through. And the first step is the approval of minutes. We have 2 minutes to approve. It's the March 16, 2020 regular Township Committee meeting and the March 16, 2020 closed session. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those minutes? And if you have comments or questions that have not otherwise been provided to Ms. Sullivan?
And there was a small amendment provided by Mr. Hickey, and that was also sent out to you this afternoon.
Great. So if there are no other comments, can we have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Permits and raffles. We have one, which is a request to amend raffle license 280 to a new date of October 16, 2020 for the Willow School, 1150 Pottersville Road, Bedminster. All other details of RL 280 remain the same. Judy, I take it that is.
This is the first of many. You're going to
Yeah.
see a lot of these.
So there's no other details about this. This is obviously
It's just a change of the
related.
date. This was previously approved at a previous meeting. It's just a change of date.
Okay. All right. Tonight, we will have one public comment session.
We need to approve that though first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Permits and raffles. So we have that one request to amend license 280 to the new date of October 16, 2020 for the Willow School. Motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Again, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder, Judy. Public comments. So we will do one session of public comments. Ms. Sullivan, you are the keeper of the.
So we do have 2 members of the public that are have joined our meeting. I think if they have something to say, oh, I have someone else that just came in as well. So we have 3 members of the public. Someone named Charlie, someone named Natalia, and someone that's just a phone number. They have the ability to raise their hand if they want to speak. Oh, I have another one. Robin Ray is coming in. So I don't see anybody raising their hand that they wish to speak. I'm going to unmute Robin Ray. She seems to be.
Judy, do folks know how to raise their hand?
Do you have any comments? Oh, I can click on each one and ask them. How about I do that?
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Robin, did you have any comments?
No, no comments.
Okay, I'm going to now mute you. Charlie, did you have any comments tonight?
Charlie from the Burnsville News, just wishing everybody a successful meeting and the best of luck.
Thank you,
Charlie.
Charlie.
Thank you. I'm going to now mute Charlie. And The third person, I don't have a name, I just have a phone number, 908-963-6153. Do you have any comments? Okay, I guess not. I will mute that phone number as well. Okay,
Okay, we will move on to monthly report discussions by subcommittee chair. And what I had asked folks to do is, as I think most people do know, that one of the first things that I asked the Township Committee and staff to work on was the Bedminster resource list. And every Township Committee member did a tremendous job of looking at stores, shops that were open, what restaurants were available, how they were open, what their hours were, whether they were doing curbside, whether they were doing drop-off, everything from local farmers markets to then looking at the business issues, employment and unemployment opportunities. Once again, I'll say that there is a tremendous amount of information that is coming out fast and furious. And the Township Committee and Judy Sullivan and Robin Ray did a tremendous job of curating that information and organizing it in a fashion that was easily accessible to all. In fact, we forwarded that resource list to other municipalities, and I know that they've picked the parts that they like from it that may be germane to their municipalities as well. So once again, kudos to everyone on Township Committee and Robin and Judy for helping put that resource list together. So we will start, as we typically do, with Mr. Stevenson on monthly report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted, before I say that, you omitted one person, and that's yourself. You've been instrumental, Mayor, in disseminating information as you're getting it from the county and the state, and I really appreciate, and I'm sure I speak for all of us, that you did you're doing a great job getting information out to everybody and herding the cats, as they say, and getting all the information in one spot. So thank you for that. And I also want to reiterate the thanks you've given to Robin and to Judy and the team to putting all this together. I think it's a real testament to our community and our administration that we're able to provide that service. So thanks again to all you involved. I really have no particular updates from historic preservation. On the Department of Public Works side of things, as I reported last time, we're trying to still do projects as they come up. I did have a conversation with John Manns between last meeting and this meeting about what to do with the DPW workers during not cold, but inclement weather, rainy weather. And the inclination there is to, if there's a job or something they can do independently, we'll send them there. But if not, we may just cut the day short to get them home because there's just no way to social distance, in the same cars together, working the same projects together. So John's doing a good job getting that stuff maintained. And I didn't know did you want at this point in time to talk about the particulars of our resource guide, or do you want to do that later?
Please. Yeah.
Okay, so I've been trying to focus in on some of the more legal aspects of what's out there. I've been tracking the Federal CARES Act, which is the PPP, the payroll protection loans, in sum and substance. It's only 900 and some odd pages, so I can only touch upon a couple things. But basically, it's a $350 billion program designed for 501c3 entities and private businesses of 500 employees or less. It is a first come, first served program. So when these funds are exhausted, that is it for now, barring Congress making additional revenue or additional funding available. But essentially, these loans are interest-free loans. They provide for deferred payments on principal and interest. And then at some point, there is a loan forgiveness component to it. It is tied to the employer's retention rate of their employees. For example, if you downsized 50% of your workforce, 50% of the loan would be forgiven. If you can prove and establish to the federal government that you've gotten zero layoffs, or you rehire folks that you furloughed by the end of June, I believe it is this year, you are entitled to a full loan forgiveness. So essentially, it's a grant money if you keep everybody paid and employed. So there's obviously lots of bells and whistles and things you've got to meet to get the money, but the SBA lenders are being asked to administer that loan, and I would encourage our small business owners to apply for those funding sources. I did send around a memo from my law firm that we put together with some of the particulars of the program to some of our business owners in town. If there's anybody that I missed, and I'm sure there's plenty, please feel free to reach out for me. I'd be happy to share that information certainly as a courtesy, and we can help direct you to where you need to get that money. Additionally, when this thing first started breaking, I thought it was helpful to try to identify some online sources for some grocery deliveries, at-home delivery services. So I helped put together that list. Robin, you got that up on the site right away. Also looking into price gouging, and we talked about that last meeting, that there's a source on our resource guide that does the complaint form to fill out if you feel like you're a victim of price gouging, which is over 10% of what a product cost before the pandemic. If you find that someone is charging in excess of 10%, that is technically price gouging, you can file a complaint. And then just the other part, and it really falls in really with the CARES Act, but that's mortgage interest relief. And the stay of evictions. We've been following that as well. That's sort of happening in real time. The New Jersey courts have put a stay on all evictions, and all foreclosures have been temporarily stayed. There will be no evictions. There will be no sheriff sales, no foreclosure sales. And that's really been, the start of my, the real focus. What I've been working on is trying to stay within my area of expertise there in the legal side of things. But
No, that's great, Doug. Thank you so much. That is very important information. Certainly the CARES Act, as well as what opportunities out there for small businesses. And remember, as you drive down, whether it's 202, 206, the businesses that we have in Bedminster are largely those small businesses. And also, frankly, a lot of our residents are employed or own or work at small businesses. And therefore, it's important that they have this information available to them. And once again, curating that information, as you said, there are emails coming out every day on this subject. The ability to keep it all in one spot is important. Mr. Hickey.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, all. Quick rec update. I know Robin is here as well, so she can fill in some of the blanks, but just want to let everybody know that Bedminster Rec opened up their summer camp registration last week, and on the first day, April 1st, Robin got over 269 registrations in one day. That's double what we normally get. It's obviously because people want to make sure they get their kids out of the house as quickly as they can. So once this is all over. So kudos to Robin for handling that. I know on top of everything else, she's been very busy. I think, Robin, you said you had 4 programs that have already reached their capacity already. So that's great work. Just a quick update on fields and facilities. As folks know, but I want to reiterate, recreation facilities are closed, including our 3 parks, our 2 dog parks, as well as this morning we took the volleyball nets down from the sand volleyball courts, because obviously we don't want to have folks out there playing basketball, playing volleyball, anything like that. Again, social distancing, social distancing, social distancing. The playing fields remain open. There's no organized play. And the hike and bike trail, the nature trails are open. We encourage people to get out there and have fresh air. And just a little note, it's obvious, but the annual Bedminster Far Hills Egg Hunt that's normally scheduled the Saturday before Easter has been canceled. As for the resource guide, I guess Robin and I have been the general editors of that document. And as others have alluded to on this call, the emails are coming in fast and furious every day. We've been trying to organize it. What started as an ugly list that I compiled on Word, Robin has taken, made it pretty, made it work, and then gotten it out far and wide. I think 1,700 email distributions on your community pass list. So the stuff is getting out there, and we're getting acknowledgments that folks are seeing it. One other thing I want to mention is we had a good fortune, and Mayor, you brokered this call between us and the Somerset County Business Partnership, Chris Edwards, who is leading that organization. Chris was kind enough to create a customized guide for us, because Doug alluded to a number of the programs that are going on right now for business owners, and you really have to be an expert to get through some of the stuff that's on some of these websites, including the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, including the U.S. Small Business site. So what Chris has done for us is created a customized guide with links that a small business owner can go to, look up what's coming, what's available to them, what resources are out there, as well as he has opened up his training and his webinars free of charge for any Bedminster business owner, so that we encourage folks to take advantage of that. The customized resource guide, for the business owners, is on our website. It's sitting right there at the top of the page, so we encourage folks to go there, take a look at it. And if there's anything that we need to include or you have any questions on it, please reach out to us or Chris, whose contact information is included on there. And Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And just a reminder, so we no longer have an active Bedminster Business Association. So this effort is really being picked up by the Township Committee. Received an email from a resident who is active with the County Partnership, and I had discussed the idea of bringing Somerset County Business Partnership into Bedminster and making the resources available that they offer to other members, bringing it once again locally to here in Bedminster, and that package that we worked up with Somerset County Business Partnership then became the model that the Somerset County Business Partnership was throwing out to the other municipalities. And I note that when it went out to the other municipalities, it was the Bedminster logo, that one right there. That was on the top. So I think that was just another example of Bedminster trying to get out in front of these issues rather than wait for them to come to us. So just once again, thank you to Somerset County Business Partnership and Chris Edwards, who's coming in as the new president. Picked a tough time to presidency. Ms. Moreski.
Good evening, Mayor. Hi, everybody. Quick updates on Environmental Commission and Jacobus Vanderveer. The March 18th meetings for both programs were canceled. With the Environmental Commission, their next anticipating meeting is April 15th. They're going to see if they need to meet based on any applications coming across, or if they can actually indeed get quorum. They'll look to have it done telephonically as well. Quick note, the RHA stream cleanup originally for April 18th is now on hold, and a new date will be announced in the coming weeks. And as you know, we had the Salem Oak Tree program going on, but that has been put on hold, and a new date will follow for that as well. With Jacobus Vanderveer, they plan to still meet on April 15th, telephonically, obviously. The summer soiree, they have bumped off till the fall. Hopefully that will still go on, because that's a really nice event. So that's my update for those guys. And as far as the contributions to the information sheet, I was happy to get the information for the hill sections, such as the clubhouses, the rec centers, tot lots. As you know, most of those things are closed. However, the offices are still open, basically on a part-time basis, because life still goes on and people are selling and buying. So we still need the information. You can reach out to the clubhouses to or your management offices for any needs you might have. Then I reached out to our restaurants, our delis, pizzerias, and who knew we had so many? Oh my goodness. So I checked in with everybody, just first of all to say, how are you doing? We want to let you know we're still here. And I was checking to make sure of their hours, what their menus were, if they had to be adjusted or anything, and what they were doing about deliveries and pickups. And as you can see on the sheet, everybody's been pretty good about providing different kinds of deliveries and pickup methods. Some people have online websites that they can go to and take your orders. So that everybody's got a little bit different way of working it, but the sheet's pretty clear, I think. And everybody's trying really hard. And I know we've gone to a couple of places in order to take out, and everybody's trying to support everybody. Real quick on the fishing information, Gina, Doug, and I worked with one of our Hills residents, Scott Zepnick, and fishing is a really good thing to be doing outside. And there's information available on the website talking about where good fishing is, the licenses you would need, and what kind of fishing, whether it's catch and release or just catch. That's all on there. So thanks to Scott and everybody for doing that. And that's all I have tonight for you, Mayor.
Thank you, Renee. And once again, a reminder that the recreation facilities at the associations, at the condominiums, are not under control of the township. We do not dictate whether those are open or closed. That is through the associations and their management firms. So they've all uniformly, and Renee, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that all the rec facilities at the associations are closed and that there's no exceptions?
Correct. They are all closed now. They were trying to keep them open, but there was just no way.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Fernandez.
Good evening, Mayor. I would like to reiterate to everyone who has helped out with this resource letter or this resource document. I mean, it's been tremendous. I'm sure this helped so many people in so many aspects. Every day there's something new. And, you know, our township, Robin, Judy, I mean, thank you so much. We really hit the ground running. We were proactive with this, and I know that our residents, you know, have benefited from it. So as far as the Fall Fest meeting got pushed back to the end of April, but that's pending, of course, whether we'll be able to meet or whether it's a virtual meeting. And as far as the resource letter contributions, there are some hyperlinks under transportation and motor vehicles. There's a hyperlink to motor vehicles, which is currently closed, New Jersey Transit, Port Authority, and the path schedules, which are constantly changing. I was able to find some mental health resources, and Chief actually provided some resources for families that are in crisis. You know, it's a stressful time for everyone, and you're, you know, stuck at home and safe at home, but sometimes that can be extra stressful for families. So there's a resource on there for the Family Crisis Intervention Unit. If families are experiencing extreme stress or in crisis or conflict, they could call and reach out to this resource. And also Communities in Crisis, which is an addiction resource. You know, it's just some mental health resources for families. Again, Renee already told us the recreational fishing resources are there. Fishing is an ideal resource, an ideal activity, I mean, for staying socially distant. And I actually was on the hike and bike trail, and everyone that was fishing was 6 feet apart. So that was really nice to see. And we reached out to the rec committee to see if they had any ideas for some possible virtual programs for families that they could just kind of go onto a YouTube channel and view a video. We reached out to some Camp Bedminster employees, some teachers to come up with something. So a lot of people have some good ideas, and they're gonna see if they could send us some videos and some tutorials, and we could post those for families who are at home, something different for them to do. It was recreation, as far as recreation goes. And then one more resource for, it's a cancer resource actually. It's the Cancer Support Community. They offer support groups, navigation, referrals, and educational offerings to cancer patients, survivors, and caregivers. This time, people can feel very isolated, so it's nice for them to be able to reach out to this resource, and that's also on the resource document. And that's all.
Great, thank you, Gina. So this is something that I've been talking about really since we knew the shelter-in-place directive was coming from both the federal and state governments. Is, as we all know, this is a stressful time just to begin with, and confined adds to that stress level. Reading the newspapers, opening your computer, turning on the TV continues to add stress. So far, Bedminster has done very well with it, and we hope that continues. But we do want to let folks know that if they need to talk to someone, whether it's a mental health crisis, whether it's a potential domestic violence situation, that they have the resources available to them, and that there should be no hesitation in using those resources when it's appropriate. So that is a great reminder, and that was one of the, really one of the first things I wanted in that resource guide, is to make sure that those numbers were clearly available and accessible to residents. So I'm just going to briefly cover a couple subcommittee issues. Land Use Board has canceled meetings for April, so the next meeting will be an electronic telephonic meeting, probably in, it looks like it's going to be the first week in May. There's been some continued applications, believe it or not, and inquiries to the Land Use Board, so we'll actually see if there's some as bold to actually move forward with an application and a full hearing at this time. We'll see if that actually happens. Farmers Market. So we've had meetings with the Farmers Market Committee, and it's interesting that the retail, as identified by Governor Murphy and the executive order, that was Executive Order 107, Farmers Market were right there. They were right there as an essential resource. And it's interesting that farmers markets are an opportunity for folks to buy fresh, local produce, not in a store, and that it can be done in a social distancing manner. Actually, Mimi is actually attending a webinar tonight that's being sponsored by the Northeast Organic Farming Association, that's NOFA, actually how to run farmers markets during this time period. So there's a number of different things. One is order ahead. One is certainly space everything out, in which case we'll have to figure out how to work the parking and how to do everything else. We'll see if we start in June. That may be premature, but we're looking at how to operate a farmer's market during this time. Once again, being completely mindful of the social distancing recommendations and guidance from both the states and feds. So more on that as we gather more information. There's a whole lot more on what Bedminster is doing on during this crisis. And one of the things I do want to talk about that is something that I've been watching, and it was just, I guess it was on Friday that the governor had indicated that it was okay to run blood drives. Because a lot of people have been asking, right? And they've been asking Robin, and they've been asking Judy, they've been asking me, I'm sure they've been asking the rest of the Township Committee, what can we do? What can we do to help? And the first thing is do nothing, stay at home, right? But people want to do something. Judy and I talked about the people who want to provide food for our seniors, and we're developing a program, a drop-off food bank, something along those lines. We don't necessarily want to put folks directly in touch with our seniors. I think there's some associated with that, but to the extent that we can act as a clearinghouse, and I don't want to say that we'll run a food bank, but we'll be working on something that provides the opportunity for those in need without putting people saying, here, go talk to resident A and see what they need. I just think that there's some risk associated with that. So we're working on that. But what can people do? Well, we're in desperate need of blood right now. And once we got the go-ahead that blood drives were acceptable, I reached out immediately to Zach Rubin, who is our Office of Emergency Management Coordinator, and asked him to reach out to whether it was New York, New Jersey blood centers or the American Red Cross, that we could set up a blood drive immediately. And I will tell you, within minutes, Zach had reached out and was coordinating with the Red Cross to run a blood drive here in Bedminster. We're looking for a venue to do it. We thought about perhaps the meeting room in Town Hall where I am. Might be large enough, and probably would be large enough. Judy came up with the idea of, hey, how about the cafetorium at the school? School is not open and it's a much larger space. So I did reach out to Superintendent Giordano, and it looks like we have a very positive reaction from Bedminster Township School. And so we'll be working out those details. Red Cross is essentially saying maybe the end of April or early May. And I promise that we will devote all the resources that Bedminster Township has to promote that event and to get the word out there once it's scheduled. And I'm not sure how it will operate, but my guess is we'll be figuring that out with the Red Cross as we move forward with that date. So thank you to everyone who was helping us there, and I hope we get a lot of folks out there to give blood. And we will come back to some additional COVID-19 issues later on, but now let me turn it over to Judy Sullivan for the administrator's report.
Administrator's report. I provided you an update from the tax assessor. He has been in contact with Rob Vance, who's our Somerset County head of the tax assessment department for Somerset County, who's been in touch with the state. The recommendation is that we do 25% of the town. We do it on reassessment every year, 20 to 25%. That will be done this year from the exterior only. And we will be sending out letters to the residents that are going to be impacted. Is there what areas will be done? Let me see, what did he say? We'll be doing Old Dutch, Old Stone House, Fairview Drive, Lamington Road, Hillside Avenue, Gatehouse, Long Meadow, Mayfield, Pinevale, Knollcrest. But all those inspections will be done from the exterior only. So residents in those neighborhoods will receive a letter from the tax assessor's office explaining the procedure and allowing them to certainly call and ask questions if needed. Those letters are scheduled to go out next week. Got a call last week, or an email last week, from Meredith Hammond at New Jersey DOT, letting us know that they've identified some additional issues and problems with the bridge repair project out on Rattlesnake Bridge Road that will require the project to be extended an additional 2 weeks. They wanted to know if we had any comment to that. I forwarded the information to Fiddler's Elbow, who was the primary requester for the project to be completed before the 4th of July. And this will now extend the project almost to the middle of July. So Ken Donovan got right back to me and said, you know, they still hope to have their July 4th celebration as they do every year. And if the construction is still ongoing, that will severely impact that event. So he pleaded that Bedminster respond to the request and see if there's anything they can possibly do to keep things to the original dates that they projected. DOT is asking for us to get back to them. And also Matt Loper down at Somerset County Engineering also reached out to me. He said, you know, are Bedminster going to respond to this request? So I think, you know, we need to get back to them with some kind of a message from Bedminster Township as to what we want.
Judy, should that response come from me, or do you want
it? It should come from either you or I, you know, within the next day or so.
And, you know, everyone on Township Committee is certainly aware of those discussions that were held with DOT when this issue first came up. And it was suggested, well, it was more than suggested, it was identified that July 4th was a critical date for fiddlers, and their consent to this schedule was driven by that July 4th date. DOT fully recognized it, admitted it as such. Yet it was strange when that request from DOT came in, they thought it was about a different event at a different date. So that was sort of discouraging, that the import of that date. And
yeah, the question I have is if
so quickly forgotten.
Yeah, there's no traffic out on the highways as much, you know, as there normally was, and there should be something they should be able to do to keep things on track. I don't know. how serious the additional issues are, but we can ask them to try and stay to the same schedule.
And certainly we know from dealing with other contractors is that right now the contractors are motivated and they see this as an opportunity to get work done.
Right.
So this may require another discussion with DOT and.
Yeah, so Meredith is the one that sent, I think I forwarded that email to you, Mayor. I can send it to you again after the meeting. So you have it on top of your email stream, but we do need to get back to them within the next day or so.
Okay, so just, I mean, it doesn't require a formal vote, but can we just make sure that we have consensus of the Township Committee to expressing our concern with the possibility that the DOT project gets pushed back 2 weeks?
Agreed.
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 All right. All right.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, we did get a response back from Gramco regarding the video system for our main meeting room that we were going to do with the court. They did change their proposal from originally it was an 80-inch screen that was very costly. They changed it to a 75-inch screen, which for some reason was much less costly. That was 5 inches made a big difference. And they would also provide a 22-inch monitor that would be at the dais, could be used by the mayor or the judge. Also have the ability to have other people tie in to the system at a future date if we decide to go with some other kind of digital, what do I want to call them, Chromebooks or iPads of some sort, so we could have a future project. The final cost was approximately $1,000 less than what their original cost was. I sent that to you in the information. I don't know if you all had a chance, or Colin, did you have a chance to look at that? Did you have any issues or problems with it?
No, I think it's perfect. It addresses, I think, the key issue that the court was having with respect to the judge who needs to stay in position. So she'll have an ancillary device to be able to look at instead of having to try to view it from the main screen. And that was important to the court. The reason the price goes so dramatically down from 80 inches to 75 inches is because the factories aren't tooled for 80 inches. That's why, because they don't produce that many. So it was a smart move to go to the 75. I think the contractor has also provided a number of ways that we can input into the system, either wirelessly or via wire. So if somebody's doing a presentation for land use board, EC, or any other board, they can plug in to the jack that will be on the dais right in front, and they can then project on the screen whatever material they have. So it's time to upgrade the system, and I think this is a very cost-effective way to do it.
So if you're in agreement, it's a perfect time for them to come in and, I mean, the main meeting room, there's no court, there's no meetings really going on. They can come in during the day and get this done. So if
Sounds good to me.
you're in agreement, we can move
Sounds good
forward.
to me.
Do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay, very good with that. We talked about a lot of people with being home. Robin can attest to this, although she just left this, I think. The most phone calls we're getting at the township right now is bulky waste, because we canceled the last two bulky waste drop-off days. Our next one is set for April 25th. The mayor talked about, would we consider doing a free one, open to all residents, prove that you live in Bedminster, you can come in. We're not going to ask for a punch card. That was just an idea that the mayor had. He's gotten a lot of people asking him. So,
as people are home and there's only so much work you can do, or work that might actually be available for folks to do. So people are they're doing their spring cleaning and they're gathering their junk. And I think that, look, dump day is always a special day in Bedminster. And I think that if we could open it up and once again do so You probably have to limit one person into the dump at a time.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to change it a little bit and only allow one person in at a time, but it can be done.
My only concern is that is the charge that we charge the folks to sign up, is that a recoupment for having to cart the stuff off? And if we open it up to the entire town, now we've got a ton of stuff we got to get rid of. Is that going to fall on our shoulders now when we should be recouping that through the users?
Judy, do you know the answer?
Well, we do pay the $10 per visit is just a nominal drop in the bucket to offset the cost of the dumpsters. It's, you know, we just did a new contract with our electronics dumpster, which is also, we have a separate dumpster for electronics. And actually that vendor is paying us to come and pick it up and take it. They want those items. But the $10 per trip really doesn't pay for much.
Okay.
Is there a limit? Is there a limit? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Gina.
I didn't know you were talking.
Normally it's $10 per trip. We could limit people to one trip. You know, you get one free trip.
Or is there a limit to how many people can come? Because if a lot of people have been reaching out, you might have just an overload of people. Or is there a limit to how many people can come in one day? Or
you know, I can't anticipate how many might come. It might be very busy, you know.
Right. Okay. I'm just saying for social distancing purposes and
well, they're going to be in their car. We're going to only let one in through the gate at a time to drop their stuff and then leave. So, you know.
Yeah, the way it's run, I've been down there a couple times in my day. You know, it's very conducive to compliance with social distancing. It's just, you know, Gina's point is, you know, are we going to have like a line backed out to, you know, Somerville Road?
You're probably going to have a line. You're probably going to have a line.
If the folks want to wait in line, so be it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think it's a good idea, then we need to put it out to the public on our website and other places that it's available. So.
No, I think it's a good idea.
I mean, if it's something you want to think about, but we would need to put it out on the website.
Walking around my neighborhoods, I've seen a lot of people doing work on their house. They're working in their garages, and I've seen like new appliances in boxes. So I think that people up here would appreciate that kind of opportunity. Normally we pay Grand Sanitation or whoever our garbage guys are a fee to come pick up the big stuff. So I think that might be a nice thing if we can do it to let everybody know.
Okay, so Colin, comments?
My only question is, as we check folks for business or residency, how do we do that and preserve social distancing? I assume we mask and glove whoever's at the front gate, and people hand their ID out the window, I guess, and just take it from there.
Yeah, I think it would be something along those lines. Certainly, you know, if not, then you know,
They can have their window rolled up and they can just have their license up against the window, and you know, the guy can look and yep, okay, head on in.
That's a good idea.
Do we have one of those sticks that old people use to grab cans from high shelves? We could use that to grab it out the window.
We have them too. So if you're all okay with that idea, we can get that out to the public.
yeah, just coordinate with John and
I will.
and just figure out whether that would be the normal, whether that would be the Saturday or the
Yeah, see,
Thursday,
it would be the next Saturday, which is the April 25th.
Okay.
I also sent out to everybody the annual financial disclosure statement that is due April 30th. If you didn't get it or you need help, let me know. Renee, did you get what I sent? The update?
I got it. I didn't try it. If I can't remember the password, I'm kind of guessing it has a reset your password thing.
Reset your password if you need to. Yeah.
Okay. If I have any problems, I'll reach out.
Let me know. But that is
Thank you.
April 30th. Gina, you haven't done it before. If you have a question, let us know.
I did it. Thank you.
Okay. And just to give you an update on the staff, all the different departments, we are staggered with only at least no more than one person in a department at a time, so that we're away from each other, but all the departments are staffed. You know, Robin and I are tag team, and she's there in the morning, I'm there in the afternoon. Tomorrow morning, I'm in the morning, she's in the afternoon. I mean, we just keep staggering, and you know, it's working. We're providing a service. So, and lastly is budget.
Hold on. We'll come to that later.
Okay, we need a date.
Hey.
Okay, we'll come to that later. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Judy. Discussion on introduced ordinances, we have none. Introduction of ordinances, we have none. Public hearing of ordinances, we do have one. We have ordinance number 2020-002, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. This ordinance provides that a municipality may, when authorized by ordinance, appropriate the difference between the amount of its actual final appropriation and the 3.5% percentage rate as an exception to its final appropriations in either of the next two succeeding years. Well, that's clear as mud. So, Judy, if you can give us a quick explanation. I know you've done it
Okay, every year.
several years.
You know, we have the 2% cap. Bedminster's been very respectful of the 2% cap, and we haven't reached the 2% cap in over 15 years. We're allowed to bank. So say, let's just give an example. If we came in at 1% last year over the previous year, we would be able to bank 1% in our cap bank to use in an emergency situation. We have that available to us for 3 years. So for example, if we needed to go over 2% this year, we can reach into our cap bank and use some of that percentage. Okay. I would think a lot of towns might be looking at those things this year. Next year, 2021 might be a year that you would look at that seriously.
Right.
But we do it every year just for a safety net.
Okay, so to start the public hearing of the ordinance, we need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Gina?
So moved.
Second.
Renee, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we are now in the public hearing of the ordinance. Are there any further questions to Ms. Sullivan regarding the ordinance?
And this is something we're required to do prior to the adoption of the budget. All towns in New Jersey do this.
Okay, seeing that there's no questions of Ms. Sullivan, may we have motion to open the public comment section of the public hearing?
So moved.
I'll
Second.
Okay, if I see anybody that wants to speak. I'm not seeing anybody.
Judy, how do they do that? They hit *6?
Yeah, a little icon comes up. I can still click on them. Mr. Zavalik, any questions?
No, thank you.
Mr. Christie, any questions?
Maybe it was Mrs. Christie.
Mr.
No, we're
Christie,
fine. Thank you.
Kathy, any questions?
No, I think we're fine.
Okay, hi. Okay, and I think Robin. Okay. All right. No questions from the public then.
Okay, can we have a motion to close the public comment section of the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in
All
favor?
in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, may we have a motion to approve ordinance 2020-002?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Mareski?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the consent agenda. which are items of a routine nature on which consensus has already been achieved. Unless anyone has
Unless anyone has a
an item
question?
off the consent agenda, you can do so. Otherwise, may we have a motion to approve the one item on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Again, roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next resolution is 2020-044. This resolution really came about because of the daily phone calls the mayors of Somerset County have been having with the freeholders. And during these discussions, the issue has been raised about Somerset and Hunterdon hosting a testing facility at Raritan Valley Community College. There's a number of testing facilities across the state. Some are actually sponsored by the state, and those two, the one up in Bergen County and the one down at the PNC Arts Center in Holmdel. But certainly other counties have moved, excuse me, have moved forward with hosting these testing facilities, and most, I guess the closest one to us is in Morris. When the counties run the facilities, those testing facilities are only open to the residents of that county. So the testing facility in Morris County is open to Morris County residents. The facilities are up in Bergen and Monmouth because they were sponsored by the state. They're open to all residents, but they were completely overwhelmed during their daily operation to the point that they were being limited to, some days were being limited only to healthcare workers and first responders. And in all situations, these testing facilities are only open to those folks who are actually displaying and exhibiting symptoms. So that means the fever, that means the cough, that means the lack of smell. If you are not exhibiting any of those, you will be turned away. However, there is no testing facility in Somerset and Hunterdon. So the freeholders have been working with the state legislators from Somerset, Senator Bateman, Senator Kane, in trying to get a testing facility set for our residents. There's also been discussions on enlisting Congressman Malinowski's support in this, and I've been on a series of phone calls with the congressman himself, directly one-on-one, as well as conversations with the county health director and the Somerset freeholder. During last week, it sounded as if there was some movement with the state in agreeing to support Somerset and Hunterdon having this joint testing facility, but it's not a certainty. And I suggested to the freeholders that, hey, rather than carry this water primarily by yourselves, you've got the 21 municipalities of Somerset on the phone call. Why don't we all work together? Why don't we, get a resolution that each town can adopt, and then we can submit this down to the state and to all our legislative delegations, both in Trenton and in Washington, and put some pressure on Trenton to get this thing moving. So that is what this resolution is, and I won't read you all the, well, you want me to read you the whereases or not?
I sent a copy out to everybody.
Okay, but we've got some members of the public out there that are listening, so let's just go to the resolution itself. So we've got 1, 2, 3, I don't know, we've got a whole mess of whereas clauses. But the heart of it is the Township Committee, the Township of Bedminster hereby expresses its support of a mobile testing facility for COVID-19 in Somerset County and urges the Governor of the State of New Jersey, the New Jersey Legislature, and members of Congress to act expeditiously and without haste to provide the necessary resources to the County of Somerset and the County of Hunterdon. And it would be approved by the Bedminster Township Committee and signed off on the mayor. With that, any questions regarding this resolution? And by the way, if things go well, the testing facility could be set up and established as early as next Monday. That's what we've been told from folks at the county. So if we can actually get everything moving, there's some vendors that could operate this and have it in place for next Monday. If there are no other questions or comments, can we have a motion to approve resolution number 2020-044?
So moved.
Second.
This will be also roll call vote.
Oh, there's a roll call?
For the record, we
All
don't.
right, for the record. Okay, go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Approve the bill list. May I have a motion to approve the bill list pending review of individual invoices?
So moved.
Second.
This is a roll call vote. Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Hickey?
Aye.
Ms. Moreski?
Aye.
Ms. Fernandez?
Aye.
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye. Bill
Please
list.
don't forget to sign the bill list.
Right.
I got it.
And
Three
your
of us have already signed. I'll leave it there for Doug and Colin. Discussion items. Anything that the Township Committee members want to put up for discussion? All right, seeing none, new business. We've got the COVID-19 emergency, and I'll briefly talk about the budget meeting. So among the first steps in dealing with the COVID-19 crisis was our pending budget. And I know certainly that Judy and Deb Stern, our CFO, have been anxious to wrap up the budget. But in discussing with the various Township Committee members, we all thought it prudent to just tap the brakes on the budget process and just see where we are going. We know that the economic distress that this virus is presenting is widespread and catastrophic. And there are going to be folks who will not be receiving income for weeks, maybe months. There may be businesses that are no longer businesses. There are jobs that will be lost. And the impact on Bedminster and its revenues could be very significant. And remember, Bedminster collects, as all the Township Committee members know, we collect the taxes for the school board and for the county. So no matter what happens in our availability to collect, we owe that money to those entities. This is one of the issues that I've been raising directly with Congressman Malinowski, and I will say that he's been very supportive of making sure that in the legislation that is going on down in Washington, that there is money that is set up for municipalities and local governments to deal with this situation. And that's probably be in the form of municipal aid. The question is, will that municipal aid flow directly to the municipalities? Will it go through the states? If it goes through the states, how will it be distributed? There's a lot of questions out there that we do not know the answers to, nor do we know what the really what the budget implications are. There's been, I think, talk about there's a current legislation A3902, which would give certain extensions on budgets and on forgiveness of late payments. So there's some legislation that is pending that may be helpful to residents and may be helpful to municipalities, both on timing issues, but we're still not really sure what the full impact is on the municipal budget. We do have the luxury of having a state local government expert who is a resident in town and actually has been lecturing on this very subject. And Judy and I have and Colin, are you on this call tomorrow?
I'm on that call, yep.
So we have a conference call with tomorrow to talk about coordinating the ongoing budget discussions, where we are with our anticipated revenues, right? So that means the taxes that are coming in, what we're going to spend in 2020, and perhaps most importantly, the amount of money to be raised by taxes to pay for those expenditures. and the impact it's going to have on our residents. So we are certainly aware that government needs to continue to function. We need to pay staff. We need to pave the roads. We need to maintain the functions of inspections and permits. And there's some capital projects that we've been looking at for a number of years and we're ready to implement this year. This crisis throws us for a little bit of a loop, and we're going to figure out how to make this budget work, not just for the operation of the township, but for our taxpayers as well. So
If I could interject.
you are going to interject anyway.
Deb Stern and I did spend the weekend putting together what we're now calling the COVID budget. So, we'll share that with you as we get, I want to hear what Mark Pfeiffer has to say tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So that's where we stand on the budget. Judy, is there anything that you think that we
could we set a tentative date for a meeting? Because I have to notice it. I have to do a legal notice.
Let's have the discussion with Mark tomorrow, and then we'll circle back with the committee members about scheduling the budget meeting.
Okay, because the deadline for legal notices is 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay. So, to get it into the Bernardsville News. I could do it through the courier if I have to, so that's fine.
No offense, Charlie. Are there any other elements of what Bedminster is doing during the COVID crisis? We've talked about staffing. Without going into names, I will say that, and I alluded to it earlier, that it has affected Bedminster employees, and that's all I will say on that subject. But it is amongst us, and we need to be mindful of that and just continuing our efforts in social distancing and washing your hands. Old business, short-term rentals. There actually is a development on short-term rentals, and it's COVID related.
I don't have anything.
So on short-term rentals, yeah, Doug, you want to take this?
Sure. There was a, was it at the state level, Mayor, or the county? But there was a state level of whether there should be a moratorium or a restriction on permitting short-term rentals. Obviously, on the one hand, you've got cleanliness issue and certainly a health issue, and then are the units being cleaned in between various users? And then the flip side, obviously, is continuing to offer that income, providing opportunity for our residents. So, look, my take on it is that we really, if we're going to get involved at all, it should be to, prohibit it for the time being. I wouldn't say we should be out there espousing the virtues of it. I mean, that comes with risk, but I'm not suggesting that we shut it down. I'm just saying that if we sound in at all, it should be on that side of the equation. But I don't know whether we need to sign it to chime in on the issue or not.
Understood. What the state did is the state essentially gave deference to the municipalities if they choose to suspend short-term rentals during this crisis. So essentially the state said, we think it's okay. I think there are some legal challenges that are going on right now on that very subject. But the state is saying it's okay and we won't interfere if towns choose to prohibit. So that's just a quick update, and my guess is that's probably something that we should probably discuss with the chief and with Joe Haggerty and with OEM coordinator Zach Rubin on whether or not they see this being an abuse that requires action, such as Doug mentioned. Engine braking, I think there's nothing there. Pluckman Park, on Pluckman Park, the only thing I'll say is that Colin went through and dropped off I guess one of the initial versions of the resource list to the residents there, and subsequent to that, the chief has sent some officers down through Pluckman Park just to make sure everyone's doing well, make sure they've got all the information, make sure that they're talking to their neighbors, that they're seeing their neighbors. And so we continue to look at Pluckman Park, but that is not a landlord tenant issue or code enforcement issue. JCP&L outages. Colin, you just want to quickly cover JCP&L and any other utility issues?
Sure, Mayor. I did touch base with Carol Bianchi, our JCP&L rep, last week. When you think about it, we're facing a global pandemic. We're all locked in our homes. The only thing that can make it worse would be a power outage. And we're very fortunate, knock on wood here. The investments that were made last year in terms of improvements in infrastructure within the hills, outside the hills, a lot of the tree trimming that JCP&L had done, it's paying off. And it's paying off quietly because we're not seeing outages. And that's key. I don't want to jinx anything, but it's very fortunate that that's not further complicating what's already a very difficult situation that our residents are facing. So that's all the update I have on that particular item right now, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the New Jersey American Water rate increase, which I think we can essentially tell the law firm that's representing Bedminster in this to tap the brakes on this process, because frankly, I would be surprised if any of these utilities choose to move aggressively with rate increases at this time.
Mayor, there is a small update on that.
Okay.
There is the initial phase of discovery was completed. So our guys were doing the economic analysis, have been ripping through 10Ks and financial disclosures and asking good questions. The second round is due this Friday. So they're looking at operating expense, capital expense. One thing I want to mention, I know I've hit on this before, but it's worth bearing or worth repeating. There's an item on your bill called the Distribution System Infrastructure Charge, DISIC, which sounds very fancy, but it's basically allows the water company to recapture investments and charge you for it on a separate line item. It's similar to what I like to say, I compare it to your cable bill, where you might see a broadcast TV fee at the bottom of your cable bill or a regional sports fee. There's these little added charges that go above and beyond the base rate, what you might pay. So the fear we have is that the water company is going to take that distribution system infrastructure charge and roll it into the new base rate. So I know we had talked at times where the water company was talking about a 12% rate increase, but if you calculate it on the basis of a per gallon cost, it's more like 29%. Well, then it gets even worse because they take this separate tariff element and then they roll it into the base rate itself. And you can bet that they will introduce a new DISIC called Son of DISIC or something else so that they continue to recapture additional fees. So it's piling fees upon piling fees, which is, unless you're used to looking at tariff filings, you might not discover this and realize what's going on. And we're fortunate to have a law firm and their economic guys really doing a very fine tooth combing of the entire filing of the financial disclosures, so we can actually make a compelling case for why this should not be allowed. So I just want to provide some background.
So Colin, can you find out from Bill Mosca if New Jersey American intends on pressing this as aggressively as they were? I mean, once again, I would, and that may be telling. That may be telling that if during this time period that they seem so desperate to have those rate increases, including the salary increases, Colin, as you mentioned, for their administration and for their board.
So,
I'm
Mayor,
currently holding 2 months of invoices from his firm because I only have Far Hills, P-PAC, and Bedminster currently sharing those invoices.
So just wanted to chime in too on that. In New York, the courts have essentially told us that, we're closed for business, don't file anything except for emergencies, and it really better be an emergency. That has not happened so far in New Jersey. So the judges are working, cases are being prosecuted. There is a stay, if you will, a moratorium on the exchange of discovery and some extensions for discovery, which is I show you mine, you show me yours, but cases are being prosecuted. So pump the brakes, yes, but let's make sure we don't get, outmaneuvered.
Great.
Okay. I think we just, Colin, are you the lead with Mosca on this?
Yes, I will check in with them and see if there's any updates and whether or not they've pulled back. Have not heard anything to that effect.
Right, and certainly Doug, it is mindful of the moving, incurring the legal fees, but at the same time, let's just see exactly where this whole process stands right now. And with that, we'll go to Township Committee comments. As a reminder, we do have an executive session. We will not be taking any formal action through the executive session. And while it'd be nice to say that we are going to return to the open session, I would hazard a guess, Judy, that
No, we won't be doing that.
once we end this the Zoom session, that is it for the for tonight's public portion of the Township Committee meeting. So I will now turn it over to Township Committee comments. Committeeman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to reiterate very quickly my thanks and appreciation for all of those involved in navigating us through this, once in a lifetime, let's hope, type situation here. It's really neat to see, all the wheels in motion sort of behind the scenes and everything that's going on, the massive amount of information that's coming out of the state, the federal, the county level, to be able to synthesize that, to have a distribution list and have boots on the ground with Judy and Robin and Colin. You've been amazing as well, and all of us here. It's just a real knock-up job, and I just want to commend everybody involved, and let's just stick it, we stick through it. We've been saying it before, we'll say it again, we're in this together. Social distancing is working. Let's continue to encourage our, community members to continue to follow that. And, this will be, let's hope, we look back in this in time, a blip in time, but something that we were proactive about and, really took the lead. And I'm proud to be a part of the team. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Doug. Committeeman Hickey.
Mayor, thank you. I just want to echo Committeeman Stevenson's comments. And Mayor, thank you for your leadership. It reminds me of a lot of startups I've had the opportunity to work with. It's, you got a small group of people and you've taken the lead and kind of assigned responsibilities and made sure that everybody's energized and moving in the right direction, working on behalf of our township residents. And I also want to give another call out to both Robin and Judy in terms of helping us get the information organized, get it out to our residents, be it on Facebook, be it on a web page, putting out printed copies of documents outside our door, just to make sure that our residents are aware and have the information they need. So thank you again all for your great work. Really appreciate working with this team. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeewoman Moreski.
And once again, they've said everything I wanted to say. So I'm just going to say ditto to everybody at Bedminster. And a quick little shout out to Raritan Headwaters Association. They're at 2121 Larger Cross Road. Their trails are open for everybody to use as well. And I know Gina had made reference to entertaining our kids. If you go to the www.raritanheadwaters.org, they have some really neat little projects that you guys can do in your own backyard. Help us keep us sane and safe and keep our families going. And that's all I have today, Mayor. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Committeewoman Fernandez.
I'm just going to reiterate thank you to everyone, this collaborative effort to, provide resources to our residents at this time is priceless. So thank you to everyone and stay safe, stay home and wash your hands.
Man, you still might wash your hands long.
Oh, sorry. Just stay safe.
No,
You can always say keep your hands off your face.
Yeah, don't touch your face. That's so hard to do.
The term that Gina just used, collaborative, man, what just an apt word for what we're doing, and really to all members of the Township Committee and to Robin and Judy and to Chief Rock and John Mance. Really, the Township is pulling together, and just once again, here it's hopefully you can all read this. Once again, great job, everyone, and keep social distancing. The numbers are going to go up. The numbers are going to go up, and that is very sad, but they will. And we just have to do the best we can for residents. With that, we have a motion to adjourn, and we will see you all in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.